We'll go ahead and jump into a league while we're discussing. Is bird or orc better? I think orc is better than bird personally. I like the bird, but at the end of the day, most of the time the bird is just like a blue X draw spell, like pull from tomorrow. Birds basically pull from tomorrow. Because at the point that you're playing bird, your opponent's likely had removal stuck in their hand because you haven't made a target for it. And then you play bird and they kill it and you get to draw a couple cards and you're like, all right, that's cool. But it's just blue XX draw X. The body a lot of times doesn't matter. Occasionally you flash it out early and get like some fetch value or something. But people really start I don't want to say respecting bird, because if it's not really respecting bird if you don't have to play off curve to play around it. Wanshi my Tongshi. That's pretty good. It's a lot of watery graves. What? Rimewood Falls. Is this... My immediate guess is Simic Ritual, and this is a snow duel for Icefang Coatl. And I'm not going to fetch in case they have Wanshi Tong. But this is kind of what I mean about playing or like respecting versus playing around Wanshi Tong. Like I don't have to put myself off curve to play around a potential Wanshi Tong here. I can just not do anything. See if they're even playing it. They might not be playing it. I want to play Sultai so bad with Ice Fangs and Kaito. Don't care what you say. I tried it months and months ago. I was like convinced that I was going to make a what I called a legacy port shell, where I just took like a lot of the hell is this thing? I took a lot of the existing legacy shell and tried to port it over to modern. So I'd have like considers and preordains instead of brainstorms and ponders. I know not the same, not the important part. Swapping out the Baleful Strixes for Icefang Coatls, keep the Kaitos. I had like force of negation instead of force of will. I think spell pierce instead of daze, and just tried to like make a pseudo functional replacement, and it did not work out particularly well. So Jorn, God of Winter, when it attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. Most notably, all their lands at the moment are snow permanents. But yeah, I wanted to make that kind of a shell work. Did not work out particularly well for me, but could be something to maybe revisit in the future. All right, let's go for a Shieldred's Edict. Hope we don't get spell snared. Do not. Tried Sultai Oculus. Rakshasa's Bargain was fun. I was a pretty big Rakshasa's Bargain hater. Card never felt like it was that impactful to me. Unearthing Grist was also a neat interaction. That is true. I can't deny that accusation. Maybe I'm not supposed to consult here because if they have like Ice Fang Quaddles, they could just flash them in response. But that, I guess. Okay. You don't say, deck. What league are we in? Jorn and Faceless Haven? Apparently, this league. Mistaken coming in with a raid. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody. Hope you had an awesome stream. Hope the challenge went well. By joining in, we're just kind of kicking off. It's round one of First League of Dimir Flash, and obviously we're up against Sultai Snow Control with Yorn, God of Winter. Misplayed semis and lost. Misplayed the finals and lost last time. Misplayed the semis and lost this time. What's going on there? Want to try Dimir Flash? It's a pretty sweet deck. This is one of our test cards for today. I think we're just going to go ahead and take out this Faceless Haven. Get a draw off of our one she. Too much money is fair. That's as good a reason as any. Save this other Field of Ruin to shuffle away with the Brain Surge. Too much magic? No such thing. No such thing. What does this thing do? Power and toughness are equal to the number of snow permanents you control. When this creature enters, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Okay. Now, I know in Legacy you mostly want to Brain Surge on your main phase. I'm going to Brain Surge or Brainstorm on your main phase. I'm going to Brain Surge on my end step so I can upkeep Field of Ruin potentially. I do find the land, which is pretty significant. I think I'm just going to draw back into this fatal push. So I got to go to my turn, draw for turn. Go ahead and fatal push this big snow thing. Please don't main deck Veil of Summer me. And we'll pass back. Does nothing. Let's kick a star charts. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. All right. I'm no expert, but I like our odds here. Is Veil good in modern? Not really. There's not a lot of counter spells going around. If we look at the format fairly objectively, not a lot of counter spells, and a lot of the removal is like red and white based that Veil doesn't really do anything against. Bowmaster in response to this Ice Fang Coatl. So the Ice Fang Coatl comes in and draws a card. Bowmaster gets to ping it down. Got something else? Main deck consigned to memory. I wonder if that means that they are a Quantum Riddler deck. Well, I wanted to flash the Bowmaster in before the Ice Fang resolved in case they were playing something like Flare of Denial. I didn't want them to get the draw off the Ice Fang and Flare of Denial my Bowmaster. But if I flash in the Bowmaster first, I'd have to like go ahead and use it. Dead of Winter. Counter spell. It's kind of a case of like, I don't really know what they have access to, so. Engineered explosives on 2. No. Good draw. All right. How close am I to lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can Field of Ruin them, or I can just ninjutsu Kaito, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've been playing against this deck in the tournament practice lobby. Didn't know people were brave enough to take it into the league. I'm surprised people are playing it in the tournament practice lobby, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Sultai as a color combination, but I feel like the snow deck was around for about 30 minutes when Arkham's Astrolabe was legal, and then just kind of like kind of fell off a rock. That Tree Folk Abomination card is thick, though. It is pretty thick. I think that thing was a 6/6, right? Do I not want subtleties? A little mid. Might just cut the last force. Surprised people are using the tournament practice. Those tournament practice lobbies are popping. They're a scary place. Like the tournament practice lobbies and the friendly lobbies or the friendly league lobbies are like pro tour competitive levels. People try hard in the friendly leagues. Wish your leagues went like this. Do you know how much pain and suffering I have to go through on a regular basis just playing against like Eldrazi, Affinity, Eldrazi, Affinity, Affinity to get one of these? I have to bank away so much like bad matchup karma. It's got to come back around eventually. Guess I don't want auto pass. I do have subtlety. Hold up, I got you. Merit Leja's Slumber. Legendary snow enchantment. Whenever Merit Leja's Slumber or another snow permanent you control enters, scry 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice Merit Leja's Slumber. If you do, create Merit Leja, 20 legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Huh. So it's Merit Lage, but instead of removing 10 ice counters from a land, you have to have 10 snow permanents. What's the second line on Edict? Something about sacrificing creature tokens. It's not important. It's basically dead text. I think I'm just gonna main phase a Bowmaster here. The reason for main phasing it is I want to cast it. This gets around them being able to respond with an Ice Fang Coatl. I've got subtlety if they do something on their turn. I've got Edict, though I guess I have to save Edict for 10 turns from now with a Merit Leisure Slumber. But they seem pretty counter heavy. So I kind of like the idea of just going ahead and getting the Bowmaster down. Yorn, God of Winter. Oh, he's a snow creature too. Heck yeah. They scried something to the top with their Merit Lage's Slumber patent pending. This entire deck's just like Kaldheim, Modern Horizons 1 tribal. So dope. Tap, you may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters tapped. I am so beyond excited to get Merit Laged. Is this other snow permanents? No, 10 or more snow permanents. They currently have 6. You're going to lose to this? Probably. Last I checked, I don't have a very extensive sideboard plan for Sultai, Merit Lage, Snow, and Modern. Not something I am built for. How many tickets did opponent's deck cost? Over under less than 2? I don't know how much prismatic vistas are. But I'm going to say sub. Let's see how much vistas are. It's going to determine my answer. Prismatic Vista. Modern Horizons Prismatic Vistas are 3.26 apiece. 3.26 ticks. So could very well make this a 15 tick deck. See if I get consigned. Kind of okay with the consign here. Get done tapping Fatal Push. Excuse me. Mana Leak. All right, I'm dropping my guess from 15 tickets to 14. All right, well, that takes out a Faceless Haven. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. I was feeling like so good for playing around the counter spell. Like, oh, they have Faceless Haven up. I don't get counterspelled. This is great. Mana leak. Does that mean this is about to get counterspelled back? Second mana leak? Oh my god. I was not prepared. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm just going to go ahead and main phase that. It does get to untap its own staff. They play the Tree Folk pre-combat. They get to untap all their lands. Tree Folk taps down my Wan Chi Tong. Okay. They do not. They should have staffed, right? They should have like staffed for a land and then done the thing. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So if they have an Ice Fang Coatl, they can flash it in. But I do have the Orcish Bowmaster. Dead of Winter. That is okay. There. Why not bring back faceless? I mean, they should have. Couldn't tell you why they didn't. Like, I need to go for this Wan Chi Tong, and if they have another counter spell for it. Fuck you. You can replay the Yorn. Yep. Opponent has got 2 Magic the Gathering cards in hand. This Polluted Delta cannot get a basic. Pass back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've hit the number. So this triggers on upkeep. Okay. What is my plan here? If I flash in double Bowmaster, pinging the Yorn twice. Does that do anything for me? Not really. I think I just need to flash in Bowmaster, ping you. Block to survive, Wan Shi Tong with what's left over. So upstairs. Upstairs. Clear blocks. That's 6, 7, 8. Do I just double block the tree or just throw everything in front of the tree? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because like if they use the staff to get the tree back, that's 4 mana. Which I'm pretty happy with. Or I can save some life by blocking the Yorn. If I go like that, I'm taking 1. But if I'm taking 1, I might as well take 2 and keep a Bowmaster around. All right, I like this. Replay Faceless Haven. They're not going to Oh, they already played a land for turn. Wan Shi for 1. Go to my turn. Yay! Sick deck. I'm very thankful we didn't have to go on like a 4-year Magic hiatus if we just got curb stomped. We beat Snow crazy. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. It's tough out here in the leagues. Let's see. Opponent last seen 5 days ago on Black Red. Hollow 1. I'll take that. It's the weirdest black red deck I've ever seen. Do it. Do it. Wow, you. Thundering Falls. It's just like Jeskai Blink. I think I am fighting over this. I think I like the idea of this Wan Shi Tong sticking around, drawing me another card. Ironically, if they had not shown me an Arid Mesa, if they just like started off their turn with just play the Galvanic Discharge, I probably wouldn't have fought over it. But because I'm pretty well guaranteed another draw off of this Wan Shi Tong, I like the trade a lot more. Quantum Riddler. I could Bowmaster here. If they had a Solitude white card, I assume they would have played it before I drew my first card off Wan Chi. So I could go for Bowmasters, get a ping, Riddler draw, get another ping. If they fetch, I get a Wan Chi Tong draw. Or I could just counterspell. But my concern is I feel like if I go for counterspell, I leave myself open to them just having like a Flage. Heck yeah. Decision so good it gets the auto scoop. All right, so we got Kaito, we got Spell Bomb, we've got Mystical Dispute. Is this a Spreading Seas matchup? We can hit Arena of Glory. I could hit any like red white land to kind of hate on Flage Return. See how many cards I'm taking out. I don't hate that. Might just not have enough to take out though. I don't love Force. I don't love Spell Snare. Everything else is kind of fine. Just skip out on the Spreading Seas for now. Maybe game 3 I'm the play that changes. No Ragioli is nice. Can you elaborate brain surges over the 3 to 4 consults? Just that it's always 3 mana, 2 for 1. So my argument for brain surge is I feel like I don't have enough times in games. I feel like consult on 2 or 3 mana is bad. Like it's just to anticipate, and anticipate's not a modern playable Magic card. So I think that consult before you get to turn 4 is like actively not good. Uh, so Brain Surge is like an attempt at a middle ground, being more impactful on turn 3 than consult the star charts. A lot of times going into the late game or mid to late game, it's like draw 3 for 3 mana. You've got enough shuffle effects to get rid of it. I don't think I want this spell bomb at the moment. But it's more just like you really got to get to 5, 6, 7 mana before consult the star charts becomes like actively good. And I kind of want a cantrip that's doing something before that point. If I have the choice. Right, Arena of Glory. Finally proving Frog's the draft chaff we always knew it was into the trade binder. Poor Frog. Poor Froggo doesn't deserve it. Sure. So this is probably Flage Consign. Nope, never mind. Just Flage, let it go. We can Field of Ruin away this Arena of Glory. If we so desire. Their main phase going after my Bowmaster. Does that mean they have a Quantum Riddler in hand? I think I'm going to fight over this. I've got multiple answers to the Flage. All right, yeah, if you want to spend multiple cards getting rid of my Bowmaster, so be it. Okay. Would really like to see like a Cling to Dust, but maybe we can find one off this Consult. We're just going to go all in on this. If they've got a Mystical Dispute, that's fine. Get it out of hand one way or the other. Yeah. Just try to make them use up their spells. Kind of a interesting little interactive point here. If they use the the exert on the Arena of Glory, then I'm probably just going for like Shieldred's Edict. If they didn't exert the arena, I might consider going for the subtlety. Just because if their last card's like, or if one of their last cards is another mystical dispute and they countered the subtlety, it would be way less impactful if they didn't use the arena than if they did. So, a little layer of protection. So if I counter spell and they dispute, I dispute back. That's fine. Why does your VODs go private after you stream? I work typically when you stream, so I can't watch live. So the problem is because I have background music on the stream, the VODs get demonetized on YouTube. So I have to go back, re-upload them with the without the music, or they get demonetized. And if I don't take them off of being live right after the stream, people watch the VOD of the stream and then don't go back and watch the league later when I re-upload it. So we don't end up getting anything off of those uploads, which is unfortunate. That's like the easiest explanation I can give for it. I hate that that's the case, but it is what it is. And just what ends up happening is a lot of the times I don't upload the individual leagues if like nothing interesting happened or there wasn't anything to be learned from that league. It's just like not worth throwing it out there. I think we'll go ahead and field now. It's a lot of subtleties. All right, opponent, I need you to give me something to subtlety. Sure. They have a fetch land. They can't get back Flage this turn, so it's fine. If they want to discharge, by all means. They put the Ragavan on the bottom. Even copyright free music doesn't help. So I wish that it did. The problem is the copyright free music. There's two big issues. One, a lot of times music that advertises itself as copyright free isn't actually copyright free. And you have to continually go through this process of like fighting with YouTube about getting that music, like saying you have the rights to copyright free music. And it's a pain in the ass situation because you're having to argue like, oh, I have the rights to play this music because the music is labeled as copyright free, or I'm paying for a service that claims that they allow me to use this music. And it just takes forever. And the entire time this is going on, your video's down anyway for review purposes. So it's easier to just like skip that part entirely. And the other issue is that when music comes out, it can be initially released as copyright free, or artists allowing an open access to their music and then change their mind later. So I'll get notifications from YouTube from a video like 3 years ago that says this video's like not copyright compliant anymore. And so I'll get demonetized on like an old video that might still be getting a few dollars a year or whatever. So it's just like a nightmare scenario that I would rather not deal with if I don't have to. Konda, thank you so much for the 7-month resub. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. What do I think of Celestial Purge on my Bowmaster? Unfortunately, I have to let that go. Is this pending on my Orc army? Sure. So we'll just flash in this other subtlety. Be able to hit our opponent for 3 this turn. Well, sometimes you just see all of your subtleties, and the world is great. Arena means their only option is Flage. Which means subtlety will lock this game up. Nice. 2040. Got to get back to work. Hopefully I can see you at RC Cincy. Well, I got a couple more RCQs this season to qualify for Cincy. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully so. Snow harder than Blink. Snow tier 1. Can't argue with that. How you liking Dimir Flash? Been loving it. Made my own tweaks, of course. What kind of tweaks did you make? Also, let's see if I still have it. Hold on. Gotta check my trash can folder. This one? No, this one. Yeah, CPB. I was randomly watching Spike stream yesterday, and all of a sudden I see a comment pop up about ghosters on my screen, or on my stream, and I was like, hell yeah, I got shooters in the streets. I was cracking up. I like sent a post in Discord. I was like, this is what real supporters look like. Made room for some Snapcasters, Splash Red for some sideboards. I thought about Snapcaster earlier today. I don't hate that inclusion. queued with Dimir mid range. Yeah, I played one RCQ so far this season, and I ended up scooping to a friend to get them into top 8 or top 4, whatever it was, to give them a chance to queue, and they ended up winning, so they got their invite. Have you tried the Grixis 8 Shadow deck that top 8 of the challenge? I have not. I'm also not particularly interested in Moon Shadow. I think the card is cool. I've tried it a few times. It did not perform well. Zeriak's about to snipe me for fun. I'll accept that. I'll take that L. All right, we got a Pinnacle Emissary. Do we think our opponent has got a Metallic Rebuke? Opponent does not have a Metallic Rebuke. Opponent does have an Arcbound Ravager. Okay. Not even gonna go. Just gonna talk shit in chat while I do. That's also very fair. But yeah, the Moon Shadow lists have just felt very, very lackluster. Like you start off okay, and then things kind of get derailed quickly. I know that they can respond by sack the Arcbound Ravager, not get the token. That's fine. I just want to get stuff off the board. Zeriat coming in with 100 bits. Thank you so much. Nice Field Ruin. How many traps you think I have in hand? Dude, you know how tilted I would be if I Field of Ruined my mill opponent and they were just like, haha, quad archive trap. Loser. I'm going to go ahead and cast this Shieldred's Edict, mainly because if they do find a Kappa, this Arcbound Ravager protects the Kappa anyway. So it's not like I'm protected from a Kappa by saving it around, but get a bobble. Bobble me like one of your French girls. I wonder if there's any argument for like Field of Ruining a Fiery Islet on their upkeep just to try to get them to like spend mana sacking the Field of Ruin. Probably not, but that about happened last challenge. They fielded me into double trap and divisions. That's disgusting. I know this is running face first into a Metallic Rebuke. There's zero. Yeah, there's zero chance you don't have a Metallic Rebuke by this point. It's like, sure, your owl can get a counter. Yeah, by all means. All right, I think I am going to go for the upkeep field. Like, use up your mana or not. Never mind. What do I know? Sounded good in my head. Sure. Isn't getting any better. If it stops a Kappa this turn, it does not look like it's going to. Okay, so we're 2 Shieldred's Edicts down. Wan Shi Tong would be a hot hit. Force Negation is a not hit. Go ahead and play this now where it can't get Metallic Rebuked. Those are not great. No, we could have countered that. How close am I to dead? 1, 2, 3, 4. They can hit for 11 this turn. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just Shieldred's Edict or die, but they have the Welding Jar for the Arcbound Ravager. See what you got. You're going to go for Crack the Fiery Islet. This is interesting because now they have to start sacking. This is not that interesting. I'm just thinking that I Fatal Push on their turn. Have to block with the Wan Shi. I wonder. Was there any argument for like Fatal Push in response to I don't know if there was an argument. was thinking about like Fatal Push in response to the draw. They have to Welding Jar and use an artifact for the Ravager, but I don't think it matters in any meaningful way. Huh. That's 6 life. I don't have enough to cling, escape, cling. They also have Tormod's Crypt. Guess we'll go for the redraw. See if you use the Cling or use the Tormod's Crypt. Do not. It's not doing anything for me. Should you have held a token back to block, no, you really only out was them drawing and not drawing an artifact for a turn. It wouldn't have been a 1-turn clock with the Wan Chi Tong, right? Like, I think I would have been kind of in the same spot. They might have just had like 2 more life. So I would have gotten 1 Wan Chi attack in, so they'd have like 2 less life. Not the greatest draw. So I'm going to go ahead and Tormod's Crypt me. It would have been at 5 with the lethal 1 last turn rather than chumping with it. Would they have been at 5? Wasn't the Bowmaster token a 2, or did the token attack and then become a 2 afterwards? Because there had to have been a turn in there, right? Because I wouldn't have attacked a token into a known Kappa cannon. Or I guess they did attack with the Kappa Cannoneer the turn before. I had the wand. Did they play? They played the Kappa the turn after I played the wand. Is that right? I gotta go back and look. It might have been right to not attack with a token. Pandas, what's up? Zeriak coming in with the 12-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the subscribers. I always get such a laugh when I see like the names of all of the the emotes. Pandas, thank you so much for the 5-month resub as well. Greatly appreciate both y'all. Welcome back to the subscribers. But like when you do your emotes on Twitch, they always they automatically set the name for you, and you can't change it until you become a Twitch partner. So the names are automatically chosen. I have no control over like the first 6 letters, and they all start with the CNT. So cover your ears if you've got a child at home, but they all look like the cunt shadow, the cunt frog, the cunt Kaito. And I have no control over that at all. And it's kind of hilarious. You're welcome. I was wondering if you knew that. I absolutely know that. It's just there is not a thing I can do about it. Like, let's see if I can pull up the window for it real quick, the creator dashboard window. Which one of these is it? Content, no. Moderation, no. Viewer rewards, emotes. Yeah, it's like this page down here, emote prefix. I can't change this. And I've had to Google it before, and you can only change it once you make partner. I've been grinding Dimir artifacts lately, and after a ton of changes, I caved in and built Jeskai Ascendancy. That's a pretty big change from Dimir artifacts to Jeskai Ascendancy. I don't know if you're aware, but those are 2 very different decks. Go ahead and Shieldred's Edict away this Pinnacle Emissary. Doing this because I still have the Toxic Deluge for Kappa Cannoneer if they follow up, but just couldn't find a finisher, and Jeskai still has the control feel. What happened to all that love for the airship? I thought that was the finisher. Don't tell me you lied to me all this time. The airship slowly lost numbers. I told you it was clunky. One of these days, you'll have to listen to me. All right. I think we're going to have a Wan Shi Tong for. I keep forgetting I don't have a stop on my own instep. Play it for one so that I can get a second counter for this Urza Saga. After this match, if you still have it, can I see the Ice Fang list, please? I do not still have that one. Not even close. I burned that list a while ago. All right, we got more Urza Sagas. Construct with some boots. Let's go for this Toxic Deluge and see what happens. Boink. It should have been for 5. Ah! They just engineered explosives away their own stuff. Oh. That had to have been a misclick. I pay too much for my Toxic Deluge. They eat away all of their own construct or all their own stuff. No! There's no justice in this world. I need a big bird. All right, there's minute amounts of justice in this world. Yep. All right, so I need to Wan Chi Tong for 2, right? Because I have to find a fatal push off of this. They can just get a Mox Opal and throw it on one of their constructs and attack for lethal. So I go for 3 to get this Wan Chi Tong big enough to block and survive. Curses. I mean, maybe they just don't go for it. Oh my God. So good at this. Those 2 life absolutely mattered. Heck yeah, they got scared. I'd be scared too if I was staring down Drawbird. Imri, Lurker of the Lock. Let's go for Subtlety. Yeah, that new mill spell is going to make crabs terrifying. Like, crabs are already a pain, but now that they can attack and mill half your library, that's pretty good. Half plus 3. Well, depends on your sequencing, I guess. There's not like a great way to sequence that, is there? Because if you attack with your crab on 2, you've got to play your land first. So if they had like 50 cards in their library, they go down to 47. Mill half is 23. I think it's rounded down. Verse. Play the mill spell, mill 25, and then land post combat, mill, or play crab post combat, land, mill 3's 28. Another Emery. Did put Emery on the bottom. And I think I'm just gaining 3 and taking this. I don't think I want to trade off Wan Shi Tong for a construct. Maybe we draw a Field of Ruin. What happens if I attack with both? Think you die? Probably. Because right now I've got go down to 1 off the fetch, double Cling to Dust, and gain 6. So I go back up to 7 and I'm not dead to the construct. Plus Force Negation up, which would give me a lethal attack in the air on the backswing. All right, so we're just going straight to combat. Make sure I've got my swamp before I start doing anything. And I don't want to exile my own Wan Chi Tong. Go after my own Wan Chi Tong. Metallic Rebuke. Force of Negation. Do you have another Metallic Rebuke? Please say no. Please do not have second copy of Metallic Rebuke. Let me have this. We still have another third game, and I'm on the draw. Let me have this game on the play. You've been crasist, craside, crasicide, Ely crasiste. What am I throwing back? I want it to be Spell Snare. I'm also terrified of dying to a munitions, weapons manufacturing, whatever. That's racist. Yep. Yep. I believe we're just flashing in this Wan Chi for 0. Use our mana. We've got Field of Ruin. And our first big decision point. If I play engineered explosives, they could metallic rebuke. I can counter it back, but then they might like Urza Saga to go get a pithing needle. Because it's just known information on the field. Plus they get to make another construct. I think instead what I'm going to do is just Field of Ruin this Urza Saga. And they get to make a construct here. I get to draw a card. And then next turn I can EE plus counterspell and crack the EE. At the cost, obviously, of some life this turn. That's fine. Also reasonable. And I think we're just going to soak up this damage. Cast engineered explosives. You know what would be wild is if they cracked their EE now to make my EE less effective. Just saying. That would be a high IQ magic interaction here. Nope. I'm going to metallic rebuke. I think I would rather mystical dispute here. Because this mystical dispute's getting more and more dead. I can still fight back. They know about this mystical dispute. Save the life here. If they have a Kappa Cannoneer, I've got Shieldred's Edict anyway. So cast Emissary. Yep. Okay. Emissary double gigs. As the Simic Birthing Ritual deck fell off the planet, haven't seen that list in a while. I don't think it's fallen off the planet. Like, half the people in my LGS have started building that deck. If they want to use the spell bomb, so be it. Bouncer and Pinnacle Emissary. Okay. More sagas. Always more sagas. Why can't it ever be less sagas? I don't know if I've got a good out to more constructs plus a lava spur boots. I guess Wan Chi Tong gets up to a 5. I have a chump block with subtlety. That's not nothing. Choosing not to chump. Need this to find like a fatal push. Well then. Um Definitely saying no to that. This is a pain because I Toxic Deluge here for 5. I'm going to lose my Wan Chi Tong regardless. But I think I just have to. Welding jar doesn't matter. Hopefully we can counterspell something. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we're still playing. Can you stop it? Hold on to this fatal push. See if they'll commit in. Magic is... I've got a minute and a half to get the game over with, too. I feel like I'm going to end up timing out. All right, so they've got to cap a cannoneer, is what you're telling me. Our opponent's just got like the biggest brain bluff of all time. We have to block, but that also means one less artifact, two less artifacts for Kappa. They put Kappa Cannoneer on top. No, they can't attack as soon as they put the Kappa Cannoneer on top. I, however, can attack. And we're going to try to force them into the exact same situation. Except they don't go for it. You want to keep the arc bound, or do you want to be able to cast the Kappa? You want to keep the arc bound. Come on, game. Come on, game. Yep. Oh! The speed clicking champion of the world. I need my own Rocky montage. He's the best around. Nothing's ever gonna keep him down, 'cause he's the best. My hand hurts. What was the second matchup? What was the second matchup? The first matchup was Snow. Jeskai Blink. That was the second one. Basic Mountain Ravioli. What does Basic Mountain Ravioli tell me? It tells me my god is the mana base for this deck. So awkward sometimes. Ah. I want the second blue source, but I want an untapped land right now. And if I keep this Undercity and go with Field of Ruin, then I'm not getting an untapped land on turn 3 either. But like, I know as soon as I bottom that, I'm going to regret it. You're just mocking me, deck. I've been winning a lot with this deck, but I still haven't managed to figure out a good side for the mirror match. Surgical Extraction is a good card against the mirror. Not really. Kaito's your best answer to the mirror. Like, by a mile. Shieldred's Edict is still annoying, yes, but... Oh my god. Well, this is like worst case scenario for us, right? Wait, you... Is this... You had a turn 2 Blood Moon, and you chose to go for a Spyro Ditch of Blood Moon instead, while I didn't have Counterspell up. I'm not saying sus behavior. But slightly sus behavior. Like you're Spyro and ditching one of the best cards you have in the matchup. Oh man, just bad play, no ghost on God. It's the on God that gets me. It's pretty good draw. Just no ghost on God. Are there any spirits in chat? The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. I just maybe they did have 2 blood moons. Maybe that's the case, and I can understand it a little bit more. But if that's not the case, for whatever reason, like clearly it's not Blood Moon because now they got triple white floating. I guess they do still have a land drop to make, but is this like a Thraben charm? Choose not to use any energy. Do in fact have a Thraben charm. Okay. So we are going to do nothing in response to this because it doesn't matter. It does have a Guide of Souls. All right. Land would have been really, really good right there. I could go Fatal Push, the Guide, Shieldred's Edict, the Spyro. See what they do. Counterspell this. It's just like what's it called? Skyrim status, like Dovahkiin encampment. Okay. Land is good. I'm a fan of the land. Part of me wants to force a negation this because if their last card is an Ajani, I'd rather Spell Snare. And like they missed land drop earlier, so I kind of feel like this last card's not a land. Screw it. Why do I say these things? Why do I speak these into existence? I'd be happier if I would just shut up. Like I knew it was the case. I knew that was what was going to happen and still talked myself out of it. Just like every fiber of my being knows this is an Ajani as the last card. I'm still just over here like, yeah, you got it. So I know their card is Ajani coming up. I know they don't have a fetch or anything, so we'll just go ahead and Wan Shi Tong now in case I hit a land drop. It's not bad. I say no response to this. Johnny's fine. I want the subtlety and the force for the next play. Because if I can just subtlety something here, they're dead in the air. Hiya. We've got Deluge. We've got EE, Spell Bomb. Force Negation's a little bit mid. Trim Kaito and like one of these big cantrips. Is it trophy time? Well, if we win this round, we'll have a trophy prediction for round 5. Just bad for discarding Moon, not sus. It's tough to say. So, like, there were a few lines over the course of that game that I'm not going to go as far as saying were like indicative, but things like jumping the Spyro instead of jumping the Ragavan is playing around Bowmaster that I happen to have in hand, or like going for the main phase, just uh, sack your Ranger Captain for Galvanic Discharge on the Wan Shi Tong when I've got like Force and Negation Counterspell in hand is kind of a weird play. And then that discard Blood Moon into the counter spell. So it's like lines that if these cards were on your radar as things to play around, the lines make a bit of sense, but they're just like really odd things to play around in those spots. If that kind of breaks it down a little bit more. Or like it's kind of odd to play around this thing in this spot because it's just not something that like you need to do. Like sacking your Ranger Captain to try to kill a Wan Shi Tong when you don't have a guaranteed kill on board is a little bit awkward. See if they slam Blood Moon this time. Well, this time I am prepared for a slam Blood Moon. But I would 100% expect them not to slam a Blood Moon into 2 open blue mana. This would be like really bad all around time to slam a Blood Moon. They also discharge Wan Shi Tong with on-field or on-board fill up. That's what I mean. Like they sacked the Ranger Captain to play around the counter spells in hand and just like disregarded the Field of Ruin on board. And that's kind of an odd decision to make. Like it's not so much, oh my God, horrible, can't believe you'd ever make that. It's just it doesn't make a ton of sense to play around that there. Like to use your what they used the Ranger Captain the Ranger Captain, the Galvanic Discharge, and the Thraben Charm to kill a Wan Shi Tong. But again, none of that is like, oh my God, they're 100% cheating. There's no other explanation. It's just that, like, the combination of those factors is a little bit awkward. Got the discharge. Okay. Well, we're in some trouble now. Well, they have drawn exceptionally well. I think my only play is Wan Shi. Hope to hit a Force negation. We do not. But like these sorts of spots where game one, they chose not to slam the Bowmaster or not to slam the Blood Moon into me not having counterspell up, but having Force of Negation and or yeah, I had Force of Negation up and Spell Snare. I didn't have Counterspell mana, and they didn't slam the Blood Moon. And then this game too, they windmill slammed Blood Moon into open mana when I didn't have Counterspell. Just like again, I never want to sit here and like accuse somebody of ghosting or anything like that. It's just some of these factors combined would lead you to believe or lead you to be a little more suspicious. Not saying definitive, just saying sus. Specific turn looks like they wanted Pride resolved more than Moon. Maybe. There's always possibilities. It's not a perfect formula, but I'm just going to go ahead and play out this EE on one. think they have a second copy of Ocelot Pride. So the decision here, obviously sacking EE before they do anything, could stop them from being able to gain a life off of this bombardment or deal one more point of damage off the bombardment. But if they have another 1-drop, I don't want them playing it out. So I know they get a token here, but I don't want them resolving another 1-drop after I EE like a second Ocelot Pride. Why don't you cover your hand with an overlay or something in these cases? Well, for one, because there's no guarantee that my opponent's ghosting. They might not be. I don't want to sit here and like spend the entire game saying, oh, they're 100% ghosting. There's no other explanation. Blah, blah, blah. There's no guarantee. And then it's a bad viewing experience. I don't like using the hand hider if I can avoid it because it's just not fun to watch. And at the end of the day, if I'm choosing to be here streaming and like putting my hand out there on the internet for the world to see, and somebody decides to stream snipe me, so be it. But like I said before, again, there is no guarantee that they are stream sniping. I am just saying, based off of the evidence I presented, there were decisions made that I would not think would be typical decisions based off of the board state and the knowledge. It happens. Like I can one sheet Tong for some amount, but they do have cat token sack to kill it. We're pretty cooked to this flage. So, beginning of combat, we'll Wan Chi Tong for 1. See if we can find a fatal push. Oh, dead to a flage. GG's. They're not ghosting, they're hacking. They can see our hand, our top card, and they're probably playing Skull Clamp. If I can play Mental Misstep by doing that, sign me up. I'm gonna freak out some Boros players when I'm on the draw and misstep their turn one Ocelot. See what we get for round 5. Can there be a mental misstep but for colorless spells? So like pay 2 life, counter a colorless spell? I'd be okay with that. Mental consigned to memory. Pay 2 life, counter Kozilek's command. That does sound pretty spiffy. I feel like by now we should have learned Phyrexian mana is a mistake. Nah. Just look at mutagenic growth. Are we saying that card's a mistake? Easily one of the best design cards ever. It's not actually one of the best. Did I ever post my top 10 video? That reminded me. I did a video about like my top 10 most impactful cards in the history of Modern. And there's definitely some Phyrexian mana on there. But I don't think I ever actually posted that video. I think I had it saved away for a rainy day. I have to go back and break that one out of retirement. See if they got a Wan Chi Tong in response to this. Nope. Dismember is actually an incredibly balanced card. Is it though? Because when we talk about like efficiency of removal spells, Dismember being 1 mana to take out just about anything in the format outside of Flage and Quantum Riddler is pretty good. Not saying unbeatable, but solid card to have access to. So I assume this is the Dimir Mirror. I just want to bowman this. See Utai971. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Idea for MH4 Eldrazi workshop. What's he DMing? Because Ugin's Labyrinth wasn't enough. We need Ugin's Labyrinth, but make more mana. See, so I know this is a crazy take, but in a vacuum, Flip Tamio is the best Planeswalker printed, then Oko. That is a crazy take. That is an extraordinarily crazy take. Have you read Oko? Have you seen this card get played? Nothing about that card screams balanced or worse than any other Planeswalker, I should say. Oko is like Oko is the kind of card that people read and say like, "Oh, it's fine. It's reasonable, whatever. It doesn't matter." And then the real strength behind Oko is established when you play the card. When you actually register it in a tournament and start like playing Oko into any sort of mid-range or control matchup, into the aggro matchups, into whatever. And then it starts to become an absolutely absurd piece of cardboard. And I think that's the case for a lot of stuff on the ban list. It's just like this card looks like it should be reasonable to play against. And then you actually start playing against it. And it's like, oh no, this is absolutely abysmal. Like, this should never see the light of day. Speaking of fantastic magic cards that are perfectly designed, let me introduce you to my friend Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. Opponent might have a Shieldred's Edict, so I'm just going to take the draw here. Why not save Bo with Kaito? Because they fatal push during my beginning of combat step, not during my blocker step. Or they fatal push during my declare attacker step, not during my blocker step. So I could not. Found the third Bowmasters. Pretty unfortunate for the home team. Standard Oko mirror matches was the most miserable Magic I've ever played. Oko in Standard was the reason I stopped playing Standard. When it was just like Gilded Goose, Oko, that Wolf, just mirror matches of those over and over and over and over again. I was like, I'm done with this. Like this is absolutely miserable. Yeah, I got pretty punished. I meant to put the subtlety on top of the counter spell and draw it first. And I ended up drawing the counter spell and couldn't reverse course on that decision. And it punished me pretty bad. So if they didn't have a Shieldred's Edict, I should have been able to keep that Kaito around another turn. Yeah. They're getting some good conversions on these cheaper counters. No. EE can come in here. Takes out Bowmasters and opposing Wan Cheese. Drop Force of Negation. What do I think about Brain Surge here? I'm kind of thinking like, obviously it's awkward into an opposing Bowmasters, but it does dodge Spell Snare that Consult doesn't do. So I feel like there's a little bit of pro and con there. Nope. Black White Vamps was a bad matchup for Oko. Interesting. All right. See if we can bait like a spell snare here into this mystical dispute. They just have a fatal push. I'll put Wanchi on top. If you want to field that away, that's fine. Do I want to just main phase this Brain Surge? Be bad into Spell Pierce. can go. You can go. Carry on. Let's shuffle away. Pretty sure just have like another Undercity on top. Nothing happening. That's what I like to see. We'll go for a Bowmaster. Nice. And I think we just go ahead and fire off this Brain Surge now. You back and you. So we know the top card is a Subtlety. If opponent just like does nothing, we might just draw into that. Okay. Finally getting to cast some Brain Surges is pretty fun. On the draw. This is definitely not the kind of matchup I mind being on the draw for. Like, you're not worried about Psychic Frog on turn 2. There's very low counts of like Kaitos and stuff. Love control mirrors, suck at them though. I don't mind them. I don't particularly like them just because a lot of times, like, especially nowadays, there's so many haymakers in control mirrors that a kind of an unreasonable amount of it comes down to luck. And I don't like that aspect. when it's like different control mirrors. So, for example, like Dimir control or Dimir mid range versus Jeskai control or Jeskai mid range. I think there's a lot of interesting decision making. But when it's like close to 75 card mirrors, I think they're a lot less interesting. I think mirrors are typically unfun regardless of the archetype, which is fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that opinion. I mean, mirror matches are by nature 50% matchups, and there's not really a lot you can do to improve that. Like you can pay or play the mirror match 1,000 times and like have a little bit better odds if you understand what's important, what's not important. Um, but at the end of the day, like you're not really shifting your win percentage that much. All right, so we got a Wan Shi Tong here. How are we fighting this? Let's say no response. Attempt to fatal push with the fetch on the stack. So logic not sure. So kind of the reason I'm doing this is my entire end goal is just to get down Kaito. So they're going to get to draw a card here. Gonna get to draw a card, but I hopefully will get to resolve Kaito on my turn. Or do I want to just go for a Wan Shi Tong of my own? I don't hate that. Just do it now before they draw in case they find like a mystical dispute. Sure. So we're gonna get a draw off of this. I can fetch again and give them another draw. I open up the possibility of counterspell Bowmasters taking down Kaito. Oh. Start making some Kaito emblems because there's a good chance this second Kaito might be what I need to win. Have you sack a non-token creature. Second Wan Shi Tong. So I let this go. You draw your card. Spell Snare resolves. Shieldred's Edict still resolves. And I believe that was the punt we were looking for. Sure. Brain Surge. Shieldred's Edict. Try to make this a 2-turn clock with Kaito. It's just a big Wan Shi Tong. Oh. If you can manage to resolve that Wan Shi Tong through 3 pieces of interaction. I guess this could be Cling to Dust. Wan Shi Tong for 2. Think I would rather fight over this on the stack. Tong can resolve. Fatal Push. Draw your card. Love to see it. So nice little 4-1 there. Somebody asked earlier what the card to play for the mirror match was. And I said Kaito, and situations like that are exactly why. Like, Kaito is just really, really easy to go unanswered with. And if they don't have a Shieldred's Edict for your Kaito, they have to start doubling up spells to get it off the board, and it can get really awkward really quick. So that league, we beat Sultai Snow, we beat Jeskai Blink, lost to Boros Energy, beat Affinity, and beat the mirror match. So pretty good slew of matchups. Some things that I did kind of like Brain Surge. It was cool. Whether or not it's better than Consult the Star Charts, TBD. The 3 mana instead of 4 was definitely noticeable. But at the same time, Consult does not trigger your opponent's Bowmasters. So something to keep an eye out for there, especially if there's a lot of mirror matches in the leagues. Kaito was great. Wan Chi was pretty good. Cling to Dust was great. Consult, we ran into the situation in that game 2 or game 3, one of them, where we had 3 mana, didn't have a 4th land, and had to consult for 2 to find a 3rd land. Where Brain Surge, we could have like drawn 4 cards deep. So that's kind of the spot I'm questioning consult on. But cool nonetheless. I did miss Thoughtseize, but I always miss Thoughtseize. And I miss having some sort of just haymaker in this deck. Like, I know Psychic Frog gets memed on a lot at the moment, but it's so nice when you get a frog down early and you just don't have to worry about things. You just hit them with your frog over and over again. The thing I hate the most about this deck, and this is like the epitome of why I don't jam this deck a ton. That league was 3 hours. Like, that's not something you, especially in like a large tournament setting, that's not something you want to put yourself through for an entire day. Like, I'm drained after one league with this deck. What was the record? It was 4-1. We lost to Boros Energy, beat the Mirror, beat Jeskai Control, beat Affinity, or beat Jeskai Blink, beat Affinity, and beat Sultai Snow. Time for Infect Uro sideboard. Well, I think M. Hayashi told me that was bad way back in the day, so what do I know? I need a league with something faster. Last match was the Mirror, the Dimir Flash Mirror. We got there 2-1. Jeskai Ascendancy? No. I think I'm going to play a league with Zoo. I haven't played a Zoo league in a while. Shadow Moontide? No. You're not tricking me into more Moon Shadow gameplay. Is Bowmasters really that well positioned right now? It's okay. It's not so much about Bowmasters being good or poorly positioned as much as it is there's just not alternatives for this archetype. It just does everything the deck kind of needs to do in that slot. So even if Bowmasters was horribly positioned, you couldn't really replace it with anything. And if Bowmasters was that poorly positioned, I just don't think the deck would function. You'd be kind of SOL. Flash deck seems hard without an effective clock. It's taxing, that's for sure. Every time I play this deck, all I really think of is I would rather be losing or winning faster. Like, even if I am losing, I'd rather just get the game over with sooner instead of looking up and realizing like I'm at time trying my absolute damnedest to scrape by.